They say every man fights two battles in life, the one the world sees and the one he hides within himself. For many, that hidden battle is against addiction. Not always the kind you read about in news stories or see in movies, not drugs, not alcohol, but the silent addictions, the ones that steal time, drain energy, and blur the purpose of life. You see, addiction doesn't always wear a dark face. Sometimes it smiles. It comes disguised as comfort, relaxation, a little reward after a long day. But that comfort often becomes a cage. And the worst part is, the door to that cage is wide open. Yet somehow, we forget how to walk out. Let me ask you something. How many times have you said, "I'll stop tomorrow"? Maybe you meant it. Maybe you even tried. But tomorrow came, and the same urge whispered again, just one more time. And you listened, not because you're weak, but because addiction is clever. It doesn't attack your strength. It attacks your routine, your patience, and your peace. Now here is something you need to hear. Breaking free from addiction has nothing to do with age. You could be 25 or 65. The brain never stops learning. The heart never stops healing. And willpower, no matter how buried it feels, never truly dies. But before you can rebuild, you must first understand what you're up against. Addiction isn't just a bad habit, it's a teacher. A cruel one, yes, but one that reveals how the human mind truly works. Let's start with the truth most people avoid. Addiction begins with pleasure, not pain. It starts when your brain discovers a shortcut to feeling good, a cigarette after dinner, a drink to unwind, a late-night scroll through your phone, or even certain private habits that feel harmless but slowly turn into chains. Each time you give in, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of pleasure. You feel rewarded, relaxed, maybe even powerful for a moment, but the brain doesn't care about your goals or your peace. It only learns patterns. It starts to believe that pleasure equals safety. So when life gets stressful, your brain whispers, "Let's go back to what felt good." And that's how the loop begins. The trigger, the urge, the reward, again and again, until it becomes automatic. You're not choosing anymore, you're reacting. The addiction starts to think for you. Here's where things get tricky. As you age, that pattern doesn't just fade. In fact, it can become stronger. Because older minds have deeper grooves, years of repetition, habits, and emotional memories. But the beauty of the human brain is this: no matter how deep the pattern, it can be rewritten. Think of your brain like a forest trail. If you keep walking the same path, it becomes easy, smooth, automatic. But if you decide to stop walking it and start carving a new one, the old trail slowly fades. That's what breaking addiction truly is, refusing the old trail, one step at a time. Now let's talk about the emotional side, because addiction isn't just chemical, it's deeply emotional. Every addiction fills a hole. Sometimes that hole is loneliness, sometimes it's stress, sometimes it's regret, and the addiction acts like glue, temporarily holding the cracks together. But here's the harsh truth, that glue is toxic. It holds you for a moment, but it also eats away at you. Every time you use it, the cracks grow wider. That's why you feel worse after giving in. That's why shame follows pleasure. And that's why people say, "I feel empty even when I get what I want." So how do you escape something that feels like it's part of you? It begins with one word: awareness. Most people fight addiction blindly, trying to use willpower against instinct. But awareness changes everything. When you catch yourself before the act, when you observe the urge like an outsider, you weaken it. You realize, this isn't me, this is just my brain craving a chemical. And in that moment, control starts returning to you. Now, let me interrupt the seriousness for a second, because you might be thinking, well, that sounds easy in theory. And you'd be right. Theory is easy, life isn't. If breaking habits were simple, we'd all be superhumans by now. But here's what gives hope. Even the smallest step forward rewires the brain. Every moment you resist an urge, you're literally changing your biology. You're building new connections, strengthening the part of your brain responsible for self-control. That's not motivation talk, that's neuroscience. And it means you are not broken, you are trainable. Now you might be wondering, if addiction is so powerful, why does it make us feel so weak? Because addiction hijacks the reward system. The very system meant to help us grow. It convinces us that pleasure equals happiness, even when it clearly doesn't. It's like eating sugar when you're thirsty. It satisfies for a second, but leaves you emptier than before. But here's the secret. The same system that traps you can also set you free. When you start rewarding yourself for discipline, for peace, for patience, the brain learns a new pattern. It realizes that calmness can feel just as good as chaos, and it begins to crave it. And that's the turning point, when your brain starts craving peace instead of pleasure. But it doesn't happen overnight. It's a process of unlearning. You've spent years feeding one wolf, the wolf of desire, instant reward and escape. Now it's time to feed the other wolf, the one of control, calmness, and purpose. Whichever wolf you feed the most becomes the strongest. Let me share a truth that might sting a bit. Every addiction costs you something far greater than pleasure ever gives. It takes your attention. It takes your time. It takes your energy to build, to create, to love, to think deeply. And as years go by, you realize time is the one thing you can't earn back. That's why breaking free isn't about shame. It's about value. What are you willing to trade your remaining years for? Peace or poison? Addiction always promises control, but delivers slavery. And the longer you stay chained, the harder it becomes to remember who you were before it. But here's what's incredible. The moment you decide to fight, your identity begins to return. The man who once had focus, drive, confidence, he's not gone. He's just buried under layers of habits that were never truly him. This is where things get exciting, because change doesn't require perfection. It only requires momentum. You don't have to win the war today. You just need to win the next minute. Every time you do, your discipline grows a little stronger. Now imagine this. You wake up one morning and realize you've gone 2 weeks without giving in to your old habit. Your mind feels clearer. Your body feels lighter. You laugh more. That's not a miracle. That's recovery. That's your brain remembering what peace feels like. And let's be honest, some days it'll be hard. You'll feel like giving up. You'll say, what's the point? But remember this, every time you resist temptation, you're reclaiming a piece of your soul. And piece by piece, that adds up to freedom. Now you might be thinking, but I'm too old to start over. That's the biggest lie addiction tells. Science has proven that the human brain can form new connections until the very last breath. Neuroplasticity. It's your greatest weapon. Even after 60, 70, your brain can learn, adapt, and grow. You can literally teach your mind how to be young again, not in years, but in energy and clarity. And think about this. Maybe the reason your journey is happening now, later in life, is because you finally have the wisdom to win it. You've seen what quick pleasure costs. You've lived long enough to know that peace feels better than excitement. And that realization alone makes you far more powerful than you think. Let's talk strategy, because awareness without action changes nothing. The first step is to identify your triggers. What time, place, or emotion starts the urge? Is it boredom, loneliness, stress? Write them down. The moment you recognize them, you cut the addiction's control in half. Next, create barriers between you and your habit. If your addiction is digital, use blockers or limits. If it's emotional, replace it with movement. Go for a walk, take a cold shower, or breathe deeply for 60 seconds. Sounds simple, but it works because it resets your nervous system. Then, the most important part, reward yourself for discipline. Don't wait for big victories. Celebrate every time you win a small battle. That positive reinforcement rewires your mind faster than punishment ever could. Now here's a little humor. People say old habits die hard. True, but they also die faster when you stop feeding them 3 times a day. Every time you choose peace over pleasure, you're starving the habit that once controlled you. And yes, sometimes you'll fall. But falling isn't failure. Staying down is. Every time you rise again, you teach your mind that you are stronger than the cycle. You'll notice something magical after a while. As discipline grows, your desires change. You'll start craving stillness, clarity, and real connection. Your eyes will open to things you used to miss. The way light hits the trees, the sound of laughter, the feeling of calm mornings. That's not age, that's awareness. You're not getting older, you're becoming awake. Addiction makes life small. Discipline makes life vast again. And when that shift happens, you stop surviving. You start living. Now here assess where I'll leave you with a powerful thought. Breaking free from addiction isn't just about quitting something bad. It's about remembering who you were before the addiction began. It's about reclaiming the strength that was always yours. Because deep down you already know the truth. The battle was never between you and the habit. It was between your past self and your potential self. The one that gave in and the one that refused to surrender. And when you finally win that battle, something beautiful happens. Peace returns. You sleep better. You smile easier. You stop running from your own thoughts. You become proud of the man looking back at you in the mirror. That's the reward no addiction can ever replace. So if you're listening to this right now, know this. It's not too late. Not too late to change. Not too late to heal. Not too late to live a life built on strength, not weakness. You have one more fight left in you. And this time, you're not fighting to escape pain. You're fighting to build peace. And when you do, you'll see it. The fog lifts, the cravings fade, and the real you stands tall again. That's the man your life has been waiting for. If this message spoke to you, don't stop here. Watch the next video on my channel. The trap of pleasure that no one talks about. There you will discover how hidden pleasures manipulate the mind and how to guard your strength like a true warrior of discipline. Click it now. Because your transformation isn't coming someday. It starts the moment you choose to break free.